Christian doesn't have to go to Baghdad or Afghanistan to be in a war zone. Every one of you in this building is a target. I hate to break the news to you, but it's a fact. It is a fact. Scripture puts spiritual warfare in proper perspective. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 12, Paul says, "Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life." Now, the message of that verse is really simple enough. You won't get to heaven without a fight. You won't. And so if you quit fighting, you won't get to heaven. Mission in a war zone. Hear me. We're on a mission in a war. You don't have to. You don't have to pretend or act like you're in some kind of battle. You are in a battle. You don't simply have a task to perform. You have to perform it in a war zone under the worst possible conditions at the most dreadful time the world has ever seen. We are they upon whom the ends of the world will come. God's army is all volunteer. It is. You have to volunteer to get in, and you got to volunteer to stay in. If you volunteer to the U.S. Army, you can't unvolunteer and leave boot camp. But in the Lord's Army, you can quit if you want to. You can. Don't tell me you can't quit, because I know a bunch of folks that did. You can't quit if you want to. Well, I didn't know what it was going to be like, I didn't realize it was going to be this hard. I didn't join it for this. Now, there's some things about a Christian's mission in a war zone that I want to caution you about. You see, there's no simulated training that can fully prepare you for real battle conditions in a war zone. There's no simulated training. Over the years, I've done my best. I'm serious, brother. I've done my best to train OBI students to try to give them as good an idea of what it was really going to be like, but still it falls short. I teach a Sunday school class of teenagers, and I try to prepare them for adult life, but there are parts of a Christian life that can't be taught. It has to be felt. And I've got a few things I want to say that would at least warn you as to what to expect. First, missions in a war zone involves the battle of the soul. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11 says, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul." In all wars, there are two dimensions. Yeah, there's a defense and there's an offense. And as Peter says here, there are fleshly lusts, sinful desires and temptations that attack our soul in a spiritual warfare. And these sinful desires, these temptations, are the weapons that Satan uses against us in an attempt to steal, to kill, to destroy. And therefore it's essential that we defend ourselves against Satan bombarding us with temptations. And he uses all types of mediums that are around us. He'll use your cell phone, he'll use television, he'll use music, movies, gambling, drugs. All these things are part of what he tries to use, these things that are warring against our souls. They may be more subtle in some Christian homes and ministers' lives, but nevertheless, it's there. But another dimension of the battle of the soul is offensive battles. When the church is on the move and obeying the Great Commission, or as in military terms, when they're following General Order Number 1, it is a war. It's going to be a battle against your soul. Now, the devil is not going to allow you or I or anybody else to go into any area of his domain and take people out of it. He's not going to allow that without putting up a dreadful fight. And the thing you have to remember, there is no Marcus of Queensberry rules. There is no Nuremberg. There isn't anything that these guys have set down where you can't do this, you can't do that. That warfare that the devil involves in, he is always dirty. Have a problem with trying to destroy you, the preacher's kid. or the deacon's child. You don't have a problem with that. That's one of his best that he likes to use. You don't have any problem with trying to destroy a person's marriage and all that stuff. The minister's life, he don't have that. There's nothing that he is not willing to try to do if he thinks it will stop you. Paul said in Philippians 1:17, I'm set for the defense of the gospel. And he was set. He defended it. He defended it before Felix. He defended it before Festus. He defended it before Agrippa, Nero. Intellectuals on Mars, the Sanhedrin. But Paul knew that most of his suffering was not going to be in defense. It was going to be because he took the gospel on the offensive. See, Paul said in Philippians 1:12, the things which have happened unto me have fallen out rather to the furtherance of the gospel. He told Timothy that he was suffering for the cause. I mean, even in Paul's day, there were people who didn't understand that Christian life, especially Christian ministry, is a battle of the soul. I mean, I've often noted how that you could almost hear the tears in Paul's voice when he wrote to his beloved son Timothy, and he said, be not thou therefore ashamed. Be not thou therefore ashamed. Be not thou therefore ashamed of the testimony of the Lord, nor of me, his prisoner. I like the way he said that. Nero was the one that threw him in jail. He said, I might be in Nero's prison, but I'm not Nero's prisoner. I'm the prisoner of the Lord. I got in here trying to do right. Huge percentage of churches today are either all about defending the truth of the gospel, or they're all about going on the offensive and taking the gospel to the world. But that's not the way the early church did it. The early church made such a huge impact on the world because they had both defense and offense. They taught sound doctrine and they reached out to the lost.
Yeah, come on, preach.
Hear me. It don't matter how expensive outreach and going on the offensive is. It's way less expensive than what it will cost us if we don't. I don't understand why people always want to tweak the mission budget. I don't understand where people get a mentality about church things and finances when it comes to reaching lost people. Listen, if we don't do it, we're going to be in worse shape as a result of not having done it than we'll ever be. I know a boy, good boy. He pastors a church, and most of the folks that go there, are elderly. They're not interested in any outreach. He's trying to reach out to the community, do stuff like that. They get all bent out of shape. They're afraid some kid will come in there, and they're going to mess up their pew or whatever it is. They're going to spill something on the carpet and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you come to my church. I'm not kidding. They done bit holes in the stuff. I mean, you fix it. You just move on. I mean, it's always anybody that's got two brain cells that flicker on and off ought to know that if you don't do something to reach lost people, the church will die in one generation. They never called anybody to be a keeper of the aquarium. We're supposed to be fishers of men. Now, I want you to hear me. Battle of the soul must include offense and defense. Otherwise, the church is doomed to disaster. If a church ceases to attack the devil's strongholds and set the captives free, what's going to happen? They'll die. But it's equally true that if a church stops defending the faith, stops observing the two principles of commitment to being faithful to Christ and separation from sin and worldly things that lead to sin, the moment a church or an individual gives up those two principles, they're doomed to backslide. So the most irrelevant thing in the world today is a worldly church on a mission. Now don't let me hurt your feelings. It's irrelevant. And I'll tell you something else is irrelevant. Is a holiness church without a mission. One's just as worthless as the other. They're like the hypocrites that Jesus spoke of. They compass sea and land, make one proselytes. When they made them yet twofold more the children out of hell than they are themselves. God save us. The battle of the soul. And the second thing about missions in a war zone is the choice of weapons. 2 Corinthians 10:4 says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God in pulling down strongholds."
Yes.
Now, do you understand what Paul is saying in that verse? Our weapons in the battle of the soul are not carnal. They are not part of the physical world. But our weapons are spiritual, and their power lies in their connection to God. Let me read that again. Y'all need to let that soak way down, all the way to your toenail. Our weapons in the battle of the soul are not carnal. They're not part of the physical world. But our weapons are spiritual, and their power lies in their connection to God. Have you ever heard of a brand of ink pen called a cross pen? You ever heard of that? 35 years ago. A cross pen, 35 years ago, there was certain models of them things cost $30 to $40. And all the flaming evangelists and pastors who was anybody had a cross pen. At the moment. I did have one that I got from the hotel and I lost it. But I just knew when that happened, brother. I just knew that the red hot sermon notes that would flow on a $30 or $40 pen. I just thought I've got to have one. All of these guys that I knew that was cool, and all of these young evangelists and stuff. Of course, they was getting meetings and nobody was asking me to preach. But I just thought this cross pen might be the thing that'll push me over the top. Huh? Sounds silly, don't it? Let me tell you a little story. You got to be young and stupid before you get to be old and wise. To think that a generation ago there were young preachers that thought that their preaching would improve if they had expensive ink pens is enough to boggle a mind. And I want you to hear what I'm saying. I'm not against iPads. I'm not against notebooks. I'm not against high-tech musical equipment. I'm not against using drama. I'm not against doctoral degrees. And I'm not against cross pens. But I tell you one thing I'm against any suggestion of the devil that those things are what it takes to fulfill the mission of God. I'm not going to fulfill the mission of God. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. I want to clear now. I'm not preaching against technology. You all boys understand. I'm not drama or degrees or cross. They're helpful tools, but they are not the weapons of our warfare. The church or the ministry emphasizes physical tools and neglects spiritual weapons. They're headed for disaster. And I tell a lot of young preachers this. I tell them, the reason a lot of times, if you're not careful, you get caught up in that technology and want to do this and all that kind of stuff, is you think that it's some easy way to be able to get up there and preach and have something to say. I'll tell you, there ain't no easy way. The only way you're ever going to be able to get up there and preach and have something to say is you're going to have to spend some time with God. The Bible said concerning the disciples that they took knowledge of them that they had been with Jesus. Now that's the only way you're ever going to be able to preach and amount to anything. You get that down in your gut. You understand? You swallow that. You may not appreciate it, but it'll do you a world of good. Man, I'm telling you, I'm sick, tired. All these young homeless preachers want to act like some kind of new television star or some of that stupid stuff. Get away from it, mister. You just preach the gospel under the anointing of the Holy Ghost. Preach the gospel with the Holy Ghost sent down from it. Things the angels desire to look into. I'm serious, brother. Let's quit it. Somebody get prayed through. I'm not against using. I use all kinds of stuff. Illustrate. I develop an outline. Then I'm trying to figure out how to illustrate the things that I'm trying to say. I spend a lot of time working on that stuff. I'm not saying you don't work hard at it. I'm simply saying is you depend on God, because I can tell you all electronics in the world ain't going to help preaching. Now let me add a word of caution to what I just said, though. Because, it's always, mighty thin pancake ain't got two sides. Not only are the weapons of spiritual warfare not carnal, but they're not effective when carnal-minded person tries to use them. Now the Bible says that God chose by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. But what often happens is that the devil takes advantage of the foolishness of the preacher and he hinders them here. Now, the fact that the word weapon is used should make us understand we must exercise caution. The weapon of our warfare. I'm not talking about bubble gum, you know. I'm not talking about a rubber car or a toy train. It says weapon. Now, you know, the fact that one of the thousands of deaths caused by gunshot. You know, I don't know how many gunshot wound deaths they have in the U.S. every year. It's a bunch. But I just challenge you. Show me one gunshot wound death that the gun shot somebody without a human hand. Just without somebody messing with it. Show me one. Spiritual weapons in carnal hands are the leading cause of compromise, leading cause of church trouble, leading cause of dead and wounded laying. But that's probably enough of that. The battle of the soul, the choice of weapons, and the casualties of the war. 2 Samuel 18 and 33. The king was much moved. He went up to the chamber over the gate and wept as he went. And thus he said, "Oh, my son, Absalom, my son, Absalom. Would to God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son. And that's one of the few places in the Bible where it's recorded that somebody repeated the same thing 3 times. Absalom, my son. Jesus wept over Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Now, you know, I've said a lot of things very, very, but on rare occasions he said it 3 times. And Jesus said, "Peter, lovest thou me?" And he said 3 times. But David groaned about Absalom's death 3 times. Now, David, I don't know, you may already know all this stuff, and if you do, just forgive me. I'm not trying to be, give you too much information. But David was well into his 50s when Absalom died. Did you know that David was over 50 when he had Uriah killed and committed adultery with Bathsheba? He's over 50. You know. If you talk, but I just push this with you. You know, we put a lot of pressure on young people, but they ain't no fool like old. You make bad mistakes when you get old too if you ain't careful. But if you talk to old soldiers, really it's a remembrance of casualties that bother them the most. You know, General Lee, it was just before the surrender at Appomattox, and A.P. Hill got shot in the forehead. A.P. Hill had been with him the whole time. And they said that, I think it was Gordon that was there, he made the comment, he said, "In all those years of rule and war, I never saw the general cry." When he looked down at A.P. Hill, he wept. And the closer their relationship to the one that fell, the more it grieves them. You know? I had a man in my church who's since gone to be with the Lord, but he'd been there, he'd been a member, he was a member of Brother Brown. He was one of the members of Brother Brown came way back in the 50s. His name was Brother Henson. Brother Henson fought in the Second World War. He fought his way across France. He was part of the invasion, you know. And he saw a lot of things, a lot of terrible things. And he always talked about it. If he told me this story once, he told it to me 50 times. I mean, almost every time I got in a conversation with him, he had been through the war. He had suffered from combat, problems and all that stuff. They even gave him a pension and stuff when he got out of there because he was disabled because of all the stuff that he'd been through. And he turned it all down and got him a job because he wanted to go to work and all. But anyway, that's that. But he always this story. So he's in France, Brother Taylor. And said, my sergeant, I really like my sergeant. He said, I was 19 years old, said he was in his late 20s. Had a wife and 2 children. And he said, and we was getting ready to take this little village in France the Germans was occupying. He said, I saw how they had that thing fortified and stuff. So I told the sergeant, I said, Sergeant, I don't think we're going to be able to take it. He said, I'll bet you $5 we can't do it. And the sergeant said, I'll take you up on that. He said, they made a bet. And they attacked and tried, and they couldn't do it. They was repulsed, and they went back. He said, so when they got back behind their own lines, and they was gathering around, he said to the sergeant, I told you. He said, we weren't going to be able to take it. And he said, where's my $5? He said, the old sergeant said, what's the matter, Henson? You don't think I'll live to pay it? And Brother Henson said, it just hurt him so bad. He said, oh, sorry. He said, I didn't mean it that way. He said, just forget it. Just forget the $5. He said, the next day they took that town. And Brother Henson got wounded. And he said, when they carried him into the old farmhouse where the doctors were set up, he said he saw that sergeant sitting against the wall with his head down, dead. Robert Service, I don't know if any of y'all read much poetry, but Robert Service wrote 6 volumes of poetry, and one of them he wrote that I really like is the Rhymes of the Red Cross Man. And he served as a Red Cross driver during the First World War, and he dedicated that Rhymes of the Red Cross Man to his brother, Lieutenant Albert Service, who was killed in France. And he talked, and if you ever read any of his poems, now like I say, they're secular, they're not Christian poems. If you ever read any of his poems, all of his poetry books, the foreword is a poem.
Right.
And this is the one part of it, just an excerpt from the Rhymes of the Red Cross. And I'm going to read this to you, but I feel this, not from being in World War I, but from being in this mission, in this war zone where we are. So here's my sheet of war worn verse. Some is bad, some is worse. And if at times I curse a bit, you need to read that part of it. For through it all, like horror runs, the red resentment of the guns. And you yourself would mutter, man, you took those things once for men, and you sped them through the zone of hate, to where the dripping surgeons made, and wonder too if in God's sight war ever can be right. Hard to tell how many casualties Robert Service saw. And I'll guarantee you that none of those wounds hurt him as bad as when he saw his wounded friends. Brother Henson saw that sergeant leaning against the wall, and knew that he would never be able to serve with him again. Something snapped on his soul. Yes. It never got over it. I'm telling you. Now, I'm older than most of the preachers in this building. I started preaching in 1978. And I pastored churches for 32 years. Some of the best friends I ever had died in battle. I ain't talking about the guy they gave it to ghosts. I'm talking about they lost the grip.
That's right.
I'm talking about the casualties of war, spiritual warfare as a conventional war. There are different types of casualties. There's non-combatant related injuries. Shoot yourself in the foot. And it happens. I'm serious and sad, but it happens. People do stuff that's stupid, disqualify them from ministry, and all of that, just dumb, ignorant, foolish things. Casualties from friendly fire. Huh? They were shot by folks that were on their side. A case of mistaken identity. It's true. It happens. You know, oh yeah, bro, I know that happened. Wait a minute. What about you? You might have shot one yourself and didn't know it. Huh? I worked for an old man. His name was Haddock. And he was a fighter pilot during the Second World War. Stored about his age. He flew crop dusters, and he stored about his age. Got in there. What, was 17? They put him flying one of them aircraft, one of them fighter planes. I don't remember now which one it was. But he said he was flying, and he got shot down over a Japanese occupied island. He survived that. Went back to flying again, got shot down another time while it was dropping down the plane. The Japanese came along and they shot him and hit him in the leg, and he spent 15 months. They grafted his wrist to his leg to save his leg. He spent 15 months in Bethesda Naval Hospital going through that. But I remember one day he was out there talking to me, and he said, "Well, Taylor," he said a lot of times, he said they'd go in there and they'd call out coordinates, and the fire planes would fly in and they would strafe the enemy before the other American soldiers came in to attack, and said they'd go down, they strafed the enemy. And he said one time they gave the coordinates and the planes went down and they strafed it. It wasn't the enemy. It was friendly fire. They killed hundreds of their own soldiers. And I said, Mr. Haddock, that's terrible. And I'll never forget the look on his face when he said, "You try to live with it." And he turned and walked away. And there's lots of things that happen. I know. Desertion. Demas had forsaken me, having loved this present world, and gone to Thessalonica. There's those who die in their faith. I'm talking about people like Brother Branham and Gary Norris and guys like that, brother, that died in their faith. And it always bothers me. I'm saying age as Brother Branham was when he died. Gary Norris was a young man when he died. And I'm thinking to myself sometimes, I know it sounds carnal, but I think sometimes some of the nitwits that are allowed to continue to read God's good air, and they tell you, that kind of fellas is gone, but it's not up to me. Read a Warzone, mister. I don't understand everything I know about it. All I know is I got to fight my way to the pearly gate, and I'm going to try to do that, and I'm going to try to help anybody that want to go along with me. Here's what was with Jesus. Now I got one more point. I talked to you about the battle of the soul, choice of weapons, and casualties of war. I want to talk to you just here right quick about the end of the conflict. You know, Matthew 24:14 said, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, and then shall the end come, and then shall the end coming." Hallelujah. As it was with Jesus, so it is with us. The things concerning us, brother. Huh? They do. He said, the things concerning me have an end. The word "end," as it's used by Jesus in that verse, means the object or a goal of my efforts in this world are for a purpose. The things concerning me have a purpose. So when I refer to the end of the conflict, I'm talking about two things. I'm talking about that there is an end, which means the goal or the purpose in mind of a mission, and then there is an end, which means a conclusion of it. The things concerning us, brother, have an end. Yeah, we got a purpose, and there's going to be an end. There's going to be a conclusion one day. Your individual purpose in this life is going to be over. But the result of what your life has been invested in will live on and on and on and on and on. So the mission will end for all of us. Brother Thomas, it's either one at a time, through death or all of us in the rapture. But whichever, the end is going to come. Peter mentions this when he says, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your soul. That means receiving the goal of your faith, that your soul will be safe in heaven for eternity. I remember seeing them newsreels when World War II ended. Oh man, I thought that was awesome. And then people, I still get excited when I see the end of World War II. Then people they're waving handkerchiefs and flags for blocks down the sidewalk. They're crying and laughing at the same time. It's over, it's over, it's over. Won't it be awesome? Come on, Brother Sloggett. Won't it be awesome when we get out of the war zone? What a deal, man, huh? Glory to God. Sins that we've repented of won't be remembered. When we get out of the war zone. Mistakes we regret so bad, we'll leave them outside the gate. You know, really, brother, the only thing, it almost excites me as much, you know, what I'm going to get when I get in the gate, but there's something that almost excites me as much as what I'm going to leave outside. Tears, frustration, failure, disappointment, wiped away and gone forever. Think of it. Our mission in the war zone will be over. Youth restored like an eagle. Hallelujah. There's an old song that I'm about done here. There's an old song that black folks wrote before the Civil War. We used to sing when I was a little kid in school. We had to take music, and it was would have been crazy. You know, I can't hardly remember all the way back to the hotel, but I can remember sitting in that little first grade classroom, and I can remember Eisenhower's president. This is before he went out of office in the fall of that year, or the spring of the next year. 1960, Eisenhower's picture hanging there on the wall. You know, they used to do 30-some kids in first grade class in public school. And they had music, and back in them days, they'd sing, and had kids sing. And we sing all kinds of songs. I tell my kids about what we used to sing in music when I was a kid. They laugh. We used to sing the song, "Go Tell Aunt Rhodey the Old Gray Goose is Dead." Yeah, we used to sing one. The Streets of Laredo. They used to sing that one in there, and Jim crack corn. I don't care. Yeah. But there's one that Ms. King used to lead us in. And it's went like this. It says, "We're going to lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm going to lay down my burden down by the riverside. I ain't going to study war no more. Oh, I'm going to lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Don't want to lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna try on my long white road down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna he won't know more. And this is my favorite verse. Gonna shake hands all around the world. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. I'm gonna shake hands all around the world. Down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study for no more. Hallelujah! 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 I said hallelujah! Worthy is the Lamb! Worthy is the Lamb! Holy harvest! Hallelujah! Separate from sin, made a little lower than the angels, crowned with glory and as soon as I get out of the war zone. Praise the name of the Lord. No, so I come again, I'm done. I got a feeling. There's somebody's here tonight, and you've grown weary and hey, you ever just feel sick and tired of being sick and tired? You just feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulder. You wonder, when was the last time? When was the last time it really seemed like what I was doing mattered? Tonight, should I? You know, I've been discouraged a lot of times, Brother Tolliver. Everybody goes through it, you know. Now, I don't suffer from depression as much as some of the brethren do. Everybody's personality is different, you know. My wife always says about me, she says, you think everybody is a great guy. You just think everybody's a great guy. You think if they just had, you know, even if they're not a great guy, you just think if they had a few little adjustments, it would be good. And then she'll tell me, you know, you remind me of a fishing cork. It don't matter how far they pull you down, as soon as the pressure gets off, you shoot back up to the top. It's just the mercy of God, brother. You know what? I'm glad I'm that way. I wouldn't have survived as long as I had doing what I'm doing if I hadn't been that way. You know, I saw plenty of good places to quit. But I wasn't looking for a reason to quit. I was looking for a reason to go on. You hear me? I'm looking for a reason to go on. And it's all going to be over for us. And we're going to get a chance to. I feel like God trying to help somebody. You might be here. You're a little depressed. I wouldn't be ashamed to admit it. If you need God to help you, I want you to come make your way up here to the altar right now. And just pray. Say, Lord, I need you to help me tonight. I need you to help me. Anybody. I wouldn't want you to leave this place and need help and not be able to get any bless you, sister. Anybody. Huh? Now I'm going to tell you a little story here. I've answered altar calls, brother. I answer sinner altar calls sometimes. Yeah. And people think, what's wrong with Brother Taylor? What should it be? I don't ever want to get to the place where I get so insensitive that I'd be afraid to answer an altar call. I don't ever want to get to the place where I'm so concerned about what everybody else in the congregation think about me that I want to respond that God begin to speak to my heart. And you know, I just get down there and pray sometimes, brother, and I say, I tell them, I said, Lord, you check it all out. I said, I really want to do the right thing, but I need to make sure that everything is good. So if you're here tonight and you're struggling,
It's okay.
yeah, you're among friends. Huh?
Amen.
Ain't nobody ever cared about you like Jesus. And really, I'd like to shake hands all around. Down my